When an autonomous driving startup backed by OpenAI shuts down after raising over $220 million, people notice. But when the startup claims large language models, the same technology that powers ChatGPT, would reason through complex driving scenes and still collapses, the question isn't why it failed. It's why anyone thought it could work in the first place. In this video, I'm unpacking one of the most expensive lessons in applied AI, why Ghost Autonomy's vision of LLM-powered driving went off the road, and what that tells us about the limits of generative AI in the real-world safety-critical systems. If you are building AI or software for the real world, you will want to stay till the end of this one. And if you want daily drives like this, please subscribe to the channel. You will get weekly breakdowns of where AI meets engineering reality. The story of Ghost Autonomy isn't just about one company shutting down. It's a warning to every founder who thinks adding an LLM layer can suddenly fix a hard problem. Ghost started in 2017 with a bold idea: enable highway self-driving through a software kit for regular cars. They raised over $200 million, partnered with OpenAI in 2023, and promised that multimodal LLMs models that combine text and vision would allow cars to reason like humans. Just 5 months later, they shut down, citing an uncertain path to profitability. The collapse revealed something deeper: the disconnect between what LLMs are good at, interpreting information, and what autonomous driving demands: instant, deterministic, physics-grounded decisions. Ghost Journeys reads like a case study in overreach. They began with a physics-based perception system called kinetic flow, which used stereo cameras to track motion clusters without explicitly identifying objects, kind of like how humans sense motion peripherally. Then came a pivot in crash prevention tech in 2021 after they missed their original delivery timeline. And finally, in 2023, they announced their breakthrough, integrating multimodal LLMs into driving stack. The idea sounded exciting. CEO John has said LLMs could reason about driving scenes holistically, even situations never seen before. In practice, this meant using LLMs to interpret camera feeds, construction zones, and irregular traffic, then suggest high-level actions. But experts were not convinced. University of Washington's Wes Case famously said, replace LLM with blockchain and send it back to 2016 and it would sound just as plausible. That skepticism proved prophetic. Here's the hard truth: LLMs and real-time control systems live in completely different worlds. Autonomous driving requires millisecond level precision and zero tolerance for error. Yet, research shows that even the fastest LLMs like GPT-5 take 4 to 5 seconds per image for inference in traffic sign detection, utterly unacceptable when you are moving at 100 kilometers per hour. The latency issue alone is disqualifying, but it gets worse. LLMs suffer from hallucinations, outputs that sound correct but are factually wrong. In one 2025 study, driving-related LLM tasks achieved only 57.9% non-hallucination accuracy. This means nearly half of all outputs are unreliable. Imagine your car imagining a stop sign that isn't there. Then comes the lack of physical grounding. LLMs do not understand gravity, motion, or friction. They can describe what skidding on ice means, but they cannot feel it, simulate it, or adapt to it in real time. Autonomous driving, by contrast, is all about interaction with the physical world. That's why systems like Tesla's end-to-end neural nets or Waymo's modular stack rely heavily on physics, control theory, and massive fleet data, not text-based reasoning. Even if LLM worked perfectly, the training demands are astronomical. Ghost didn't have the data pipeline or compute scale to compete with Tesla's 50 billion miles of annual training data. Without that, reasoning about unseen road conditions were more fantasy than science. Researchers note that multimodal LLMs need vast driving-specific datasets covering every lighting, weather, and edge case combination. Ghost had none of that. So in the end, it was like teaching ChatGPT to drive using Wikipedia and dashcam clips. It might sound fluent, but it will not stay in its lane. Autonomous systems aren't just technical, they are regulated. They must comply with safety standards like ISO 26262, provide explainability, and withstand adversarial attacks. LLMs fail almost every one of these tests. They are prone to data leakage, adversarial manipulation, and backdoor vulnerabilities. Researchers have demonstrated how subtle pixel changes can alter an LLM's interpretation of a traffic scene. And because LLMs are black boxes, even a correct decision cannot be proven safe in court or to a regulator. In short, an LLM cannot be certified to drive because no one can verify why it decided to turn left. While the tech was shaky, the business reality sealed Ghost's fate. Despite 5 years of R&D, they never secured an OEM partnership. Car manufacturers are famously conservative. No one is going to risk their brand on unproven AI. And with long commercialization cycles, huge infrastructure costs, and no revenue, Ghost hit a funding wall. Ironically, 2024 was a record year for autonomy investment, $18 billion globally, but most of it flowed to giants like Waymo and Chinese players. For mid-tier startups like Ghost, investor patience ran out. The OpenAI partnership made great PR, but it didn't translate into customer safety validation or Runway. Ghost also became a victim of a broader debate in the industry, end-to-end versus modular autonomy. End-to-end systems like Tesla's FSD V12 train a single neural model to go from camera input to steering output. Modular systems like Waymo separate perception, prediction, and control, each verified independently. LLM-driven approaches sit at the extreme end of end-to-end, a black box making holistic decisions. That's elegant on paper but disastrous for safety, debugging, and regulation. Even Mobileye's CTO has argued that full end-to-end autonomy is neither necessary nor sufficient. The winning formula so far is hybrid, where deterministic control and perception systems handle the core and reasoning models assist at the margins. So here is what Ghost failure teaches us beyond autonomous driving. If you're using LLMs in safety critical or real-time environments, do not treat them as controllers. Treat them as advisors. They can summarize sensor data, generate edge case simulations, or label datasets, but they should not steer the car. Second, hype doesn't replace architecture. Ghost kept pivoting from highway autonomy to crash avoidance to LLM reasoning without proving a single working system. Every pivot eroded investor trust. Third, AI adoption must match domain maturity. In software, a hallucination is a UX bug. In driving, it's a fatal crash. The difference isn't just modal, it's architectural. And finally, data is the real moat. Tesla and Waymo didn't win because of smarter algorithms. They won because of relentless data collection and validation at industrial scale. Ghost Autonomy Shutdown wasn't a mystery, it was predictable. They tried to skip the hard engineering in favor of a fashionable abstraction. But autonomous driving is the ultimate reality check for AI. There is no autocomplete for gravity or no prompt large enough to explain momentum. As researchers now say, LLMs will likely assist, not drive, supporting simulation, data labeling, or semantic reasoning under tight supervision. The dream of a GPT that drives is still years, if not decades away. If you are building AI for the real world, remember this. Safety critical systems reward patience, not hype, because in engineering, unlike marketing, hallucinations have consequences. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe for more deep breakdowns on how AI and SaaS intersect with reality and the lessons every founder engineer can take from stories like this. Thank you so much for watching.